material, your favorite compost or manure products and things like that. Put those down in there, rake that off nicely, make it nice and smooth, and cover it with the clear visqueen. You're going to solarize it. What that will do, and it's the thickest you can buy. That's,
so basically take the top off the dirt.
Just all you want to do is take the weeds off,
right,
and add your, like as if you were getting ready to plant.
Right.
All you want to do is pretend like you're getting ready to plant. Soil's moist now, or if it wasn't, you could water it. Once you've got that all set, put that plastic over there. Make sure it's touching the top of the soil. Weight it down, or dig it into the ground a little bit. Weight that down so that it doesn't move, doesn't come up. And let it sit for about 6 weeks. And after that 6-week period, carefully get your plastic off of there. One of the reasons the heavy plastic, it lasts longer, because sun will break down the lighter weight plastics. And you just go and plant. You don't till it after that, because then you would just be breaking up everything you just did, because the sun will penetrate through that plastic, heating that soil, but the ultraviolet rays that come through that clear plastic are helping to kill off detrimental insect eggs, fungi, spores, bacteriums, and things like that are up in there. Because we all know sunlight kills things. Heat and sunlight, and so and then when you remove it, then all you need to do is plant. You're not gonna hoe it up. You're not gonna till it up. You just get it ready.
Put a little hole, put a plant in,
and let it do its thing.
Is that something that you can do if you do it now? That's for your late summer planting. If you're gonna do it for your fall planting, do it later in the summer.
It would be right, and usually because we still have a few things still left in the gardens, so we don't usually have too much. But this is, he's got an empty area. Start putting the compost in.
He's got 3 acres, and he keeps 2 half acres.
Okay.
And he switches every year. His garden fluctuates, moves side to side.
So that area. I mean, it's get the compost going in there, all that stuff. Get it ready to be taken care of. I mean, now on an acre, that's a little hard to cover with plastic.
Well, it's a half acre.
Half acre. That's still quite a bit to try to cover. But even without it, might be the kind of thing going. Okay, I can get it prepared. It can be ready to go, but I wouldn't till it deep. I would wait, and just work in your stuff into that top 6 inches or so, and be ready to plant if you're getting ready to plant that for fall. I'd probably even still wait, probably till say like the end of July, because you can start putting stuff in August, and give it a few weeks. Once you've worked that in, give that a couple weeks to rest, and then plant.
Yeah, see. Like I have golf as a hobby. My buddy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
His garden is his hobby.
Yeah.
He gets out there every day after he works for one of those 7:30 to 3:30 jobs.
Okay. Yeah.
He gets out there from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon until it's dark, and you can
and
find him in his corn, or you can find him in his cabbage and his beans.
That's it. You're taking care of the weeds. You're looking for the pest, and you're harvesting the evening's dinner.
Yeah, and he literally says that it saves him and his family about $4,000 a year.
I can imagine once you have it, once you know what you're doing, or have a good understanding of what and all is going on with your garden, and that you're consistent, you know what your good crops have been over the years, you know what your family likes. Don't plant things you're not going to eat.
No.
Yeah, if you think, the fad is kale, I'm going to plant kale,
Kale's
and you've had kale, and you go, I really don't care for it. Don't plant kale. You're just wasting space. I mean, unless you have a rabbit or something that likes it.
Well, my fiance wanted to plant beets because she loves beets.
Okay.
And I go, okay, plant a beet plant. She goes, why plant a plant? I go, because I'm not eating the nasty things. If I'm not going to eat them, there's only 2 of us.
You only need a couple of them in there.
Yeah.
And honestly, if somebody really, if like you say, a couple, only one person out of the 2. It's probably more cost effective just to go to the farmer's market and pick up what you're going to use.
100%. Although the cucumber plants
is producing well, and that's
we're going to end up with 12 or 15 plants for the cucumber plants.
Hopefully you'll have more than that.
Let's hope, because I love cucumbers.
Cucumbers are good, and it's funny. As a child, I liked pickles, but I didn't like cucumbers.
Huh.
I know that the same thing. It's just the flavor.
Yeah, one's just been soaked in dill.
Yeah.
Unless you get the butter cucumbers, the butter pickle.
No, I don't like.
I like
don't
pickles,
sweet
period.
I'm not a
Sweet
sweet
butter,
pickle.
dill, I like pickles, period.
I had a hot and spicy pickle, or a sweet and spicy pickle, and that was very hard for my brain to.
That doesn't sound like a BS.
It was good. It had a little bit of heat to it, but it was sweet. So it was a little hard to process, taste bud wise.
Sounds like
so you had to have it with your sandwich. You couldn't put it.
Sound like Aunt Bee's pickles. And Aunt Bee's pickles were terrible.
Oh.
Marty and Andy had to eat all of them because they couldn't sell them. Couldn't sell them. I'm not a big sweet and spicy guy. I either want sweet
or spicy.
Well,
that's what I said. It was a little different. It took me a little while to
like
get
that salted,
those
and I can't do the salted caramel. Salted caramel. I'm like, I don't want my sweet to be salty. It's one of those things. But as we get prepared, as the rainy season comes in, what are some of the protections people need to take to make sure their gardens still survive? Because washout's a big problem right now.
Yeah, hopefully you've had it in an area or you have raised beds where you're not really that concerned with the washout. If this is a first-year garden, do see where it's going. Maybe you do need to use some landscape timber or some other type of edging material to help keep that soil in place. Right now, it's more over the heat, humidity, and rain is taking its toll fungus-wise on plants. So it may be time to pull out some of those things that are beginning to decline, or they're not producing the way they were. You usually only get a certain amount of pickings out of certain things, and then they just slow down.
Then they're just a weed too.
Then they're just they're a plant in the wrong place. And so it's time to clean those areas out. It gives us a chance to clean it out and begin our planting. It is, I know, just the first week of June, but we start thinking towards August and September now of what are we going to put in these areas. And so in order to clean things up, get that compost going, it might be moreover thinking of those things as that spring garden begins to peter out, unless you've added the summer peas, you've got your okra in, things like that. Your eggplant's going to continue. Your peppers are going to continue. So, you have those areas of the garden that are just going to stay for quite a bit longer time. Sweet potatoes were probably just put in the ground recently, sometime in May. Get them in now so that you'll have something hopefully to harvest by Thanksgiving. If you're a sweet potato person.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not. I like sweet potato pie, but not.
My mom had yams almost at every meal, and yams and sweet potatoes are
the same thing, basically. So.
That and rutabagas. Hey, what about though? As we get into summer, and you got the summer peas and the okra and everything in.
Yeah.
But you're pulling some of those plants out. What are some of the things if the soil's depleted and you don't have planter boxes? You're actually using using land.
The native soil.
What are some of the things I can do in the winter to help bring that soil back?
Again, compost, manures. If you have access to fresh manures, they need to age. So they need to go in the ground and have a chance to break down because horse manure, cow manure are very high in nitrogen. Chicken manure is very high in nitrogen.
Chicken manure will burn your grass up.
Yeah, it'll burn your grass. Rabbit manure is high in nitrogen. So these things need to cook. They need a chance to begin to break down. So if you have sections of the garden, even the spring garden that's finished, you have a section there, get your compost in there, get your manure in there, and all of those have great microbes that will help to eliminate some of the soil pest issues that they're just naturally occurring microbes, especially things like nematodes. And okra can be a nematode problem. So
yes.
Some people plant that away from other things or that's the nematode bed. The okra bed is way over to where you can take that special time after that to harvest is out of there, and in order to kick that back up into something that's going to produce well the following year.
Okra, I love okra.
I like it too.
Do you like it always prepared, or do you?
If I'm going to eat it, usually if I'm going to eat it, I like it in gumbo. I like tomatoes, okra, and corn,
Uh-huh.
and especially if you do it with some rice and cook all of that
yeah.
together
Yeah.
with your kielbasa and stuff like that. Just
Almost
one
like a
pot,
goulash.
Yeah, it's a one pot meal kind
Right.
of deal, and yeah, that's a favorite. Fried okra, of course.
You don't like whole okra boiled, though, do you?
No, I like
Too slimy
okra.
for you?
Yeah, a little too slippery. But
Fantastic.
that's why you use the tomatoes in the other, and the acid in the tomato
Takes the slime
out. Yep, gets
But
rid of the
there's some-
mucilaginous.
There's something about just boiled okra with some ham hocks in it.
Okay.
Ugh. My mom.
You stick to your original.
My mom was one of those that made you eat everything on your plate.
Yeah.
And she said that she had one regret in her life, food-wise,
Oh.
that
Okay.
she forced me to eat okra at 7 years old.
Oh.
Because nobody ate okra in my house. My dad would eat it. My sisters would balk at it and everything. I balked because it just looked gross.
Yeah.
7 years old, I ate some boiled okra because she made me.
And you like
And then she was done. Every time she made okra, she had to make enough for me too.
Oh, because she was the only one who liked it.
Oh, she was the only one who liked
Okay,
it.
gotcha.
And you
Well,
get
that
with
was
some
like,
field peas and some boiled okra, calm down now. Calm
well,
down.
see, now, when, as a child growing up, it was my father who ate cabbage. Us kids, ooh, turn the nose up, run out the door.
I'm
it
German.
was done
Cabbage
with,
came with almost every meal.
my mom couldn't eat cabbage. It did not
She
agree
had
with
an
her.
issue with
yeah,
it.
with it.
Yeah.
She could eat coleslaw, but she couldn't eat it cooked. But so I mean, us kids, we'd run from the house. You know, oh, mom's
Well, it
making
does stink
dinner.
up. The
Oh,
cabbage stinks the house up.
we'd run. As an adult, I love cabbage.
And it's good for you,
it is, yeah.
unlike iceberg lettuce, which is
Yeah,
90% water.
that's all it is adds a little crunch to your sandwich.
Yeah.
That's all it's
Yeah.
good for.
That's why everybody goes, do you like salads? I like spring mix or
Or
romaine or something like that.
as
but-
we spoke, the cucumber, tomato, and onions.
Yeah.
That's a salad.
Yes.
I don't need anything
You put some
else
hard
but
salami and ham in that chunks, now you got an
Yeah,
antipasta.
and a
It's
little
really good.
some good cheese in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
Oh, I know. Now I'm thinking, ooh.
You know, there's a place that, there's a grocery store deli that I won't mention on the air
Uh-huh.
that makes a good antipasta. And it's not named Publix.
Oh,
Hello, there you
another
go.
one.
Oh, they got,
Yeah, got a couple of them.
wow, we got airplanes right outside
Yeah,
now.
taxiing them in with the pallet jack.
I just looked out there and I went, there's a bunch of airplanes out there all of a sudden.
They brought two up. Hey, a couple more.
622-9622 is the number to call if you have any questions for Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann, now that we've had the deluge, we've talked about turning the sprinklers
Right.
off. Your grass will tell you when it's time to turn
the
the sprinklers,
sprinklers back
turn
on.
to bring it back on and everything. Is this a good time if you have bare spots or bare patches that you can go and get the matching sod for your grass and it'll take real well now?
It is, yeah. It's warm. It's obviously steadily warm. We're getting the rain to where you're not having to turn your sprinklers on for the next 30 days every single day. So doing that kind of stuff in early spring, you run your water bill really high. If you need to plug or put a couple patches of sod in there, or even just clean those areas out real well.
If you got a Bermuda yard, if you clean those areas out real well, the Bermuda will come to it.
So will St. Augustine.
Oh, will it?
It'll do the same thing. Rake it out real well. I would get. I'm a fan of the. Don't use topsoil. Topsoil is just bringing weeds in.
Right.
Hate to tell you, but I don't care. Even if you buy the name brand, it's
still
not
got weeds
screened.
in it,
It's not
yeah.
screened for weeds. There's a couple products out there that actually say weed free. One of them is a mushroom compost. A little hard to put through your spreader, but you could get with your wheelbarrow and your shovel, throw a few out there, rake it into, like you're patching a hole in the plaster.
Right.
You're going to rake it into the good grass, and that St. Augustine's going to come back across it. But there's about 3, maybe 4 different soils. You can even use compost. Just want to because compost usually has come up to a temperature that will kill the weed seeds. So I feel confident putting something like a commercial compost, if you don't have any at home, out on the lawn. Or if you're also of that school, if it's green, mow it. Don't worry about that. A lot of landscape places, and I think UF even says sand. The reason for sand is it has no weeds,
Right.
but it also doesn't offer any nutrition.
None.
And to me, it's put the things down that are going to add some nutrition. There's a couple of different brands of. There's one that everybody thinks beer made Milwaukee famous. They have another product out there with a Milorgan, kind of thing in there. And there's a couple of other brands of that same exact product. Some of them just come from Florida, so you don't pay quite as much because it didn't have to travel as far. Those are easy low impact type fertilizer that you can put down on landscape plants and the lawn, so you can just run through the whole thing, and that'll help to bolster that lawn up, because it helps to feed the soil more than just feeding the grass. It's feeding the soil. Same thing with your compost. It's feeding the soil, not just the plant.
And there's a reason there was a bare spot in the first place.
Right.
Because the soil wasn't good enough.
Wasn't good enough,
Right.
or insects got into that area, or maybe your irrigation system wasn't reaching correctly. It was for whatever reason, it's, that we can.
But this is a good time to correct bare spots.
To correct those bare spots, yeah. And if you have something like a Bahia-lawn or centipede, Bermuda, and you want to get some seed, rake it out real well. Get out there, hire, hey, all the kids are out of school. See if you can hire one for some pizza and some, and a couple bottles of Gatorade, and get, rake that area out, get some soil put down, throw some seed down, and you may need to water it a little bit, but most of the time we're getting enough. I think we're getting enough moisture that it should go ahead and sprout.
We got about 2 minutes left with Carolyn Baldwin. So I know the answer to this, but I want you to tell the people that are listening the answer to this. The rainy season has come. Your grass is going to jump.
Yes.
I mean, it's going to jump.
Yes.
So do I lower my deck bed so I cut my grass shorter?
No. Keep the deck bed high, because it's going to help. Actually, because it's hot, it's going to help keep that root system cool. We don't scalp the lawn. We don't lower that blade. We mow more often.
But my grass is high.
Mow more often.
Like twice a week.
Twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, depending on your lawn, how much you.
What's a good, if you clip like a third of an inch off the top of the grass, is that a good, or
it's usually
half an inch, third of an inch?
It's usually, we usually say like 1/3. So if you've got St. Augustine and it's 2.5 inches tall, and it gets to 2 3/4, 3 inches, you're just taking it back down to what it was.
Right.
You don't let it go. If you go away,
don't take it to 2 inches.
Have somebody come and mow for you while you're gone. Or if you find you need to mow it twice, do it twice. Don't just whack it up. Do it once so that you're not leaving clumps of grass in the yard, because then you've got to catch all that grass up or go back out there and rake it.
Carolyn Baldwin, tell people, we got about a minute and a half, tell people where they can find you and how to get in touch with you on Facebook.
On the Facebook, it's the In the Garden group page. Just ask to join. I really haven't turned too many people away. Otherwise, you find me. Everybody knows I work down there at Lowe's down there in Lady Lake.
And please, like she always tells you, if you get any kind of store-bought help for your garden or your plants or your yard and all, read the directions and follow them by the law. Yeah. Don't say, well, okay, maybe I'll do it this halfway. Do exactly what it says.
It's better for your dollar and the environment and your time.
Because some people are like, oh, that may be too much.
That doesn't look like enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the big. That doesn't look
like enough. Go buy you some cheap measuring spoons from the Dollar Tree and keep them with your chemicals, and that way you're good.
Yeah, that's what we do. The Dollar Tree with the little
measuring cups and measuring spoons. Just keep them out there in the shed for all your garden chemicals.
Master Gardener Carolyn Baldwin, she joins us every Tuesday. One of these planes is probably hers. She's probably going to jet out of here. I don't know which one I'd rather have. The jets are nice, but the single engine prop looks pretty nice too. Pretty nice plane. Carolyn Baldwin joins us every Tuesday. Carolyn, see you next week?
Yeah, I hope so.
Uh-oh. Let's find out about that off the air. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
It's time for Farm the Ranch headlines of the Southeast segment.
Thank you, Ron. The rerun for next week.
The farmers are getting the good
Friday
market exports in the future.
My brother passed away last Tuesday.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and Saturday's
dirty deeds leading to their arrest.
celebration of
Law
life.
enforcement officers in 18 countries began
late
to
on
unveil the
Monday.
scope of
Okay.
what's known as Operation Trojan's
Knowing
Shield.
me, I'll probably be up
A
at
New
6
Zealand
o'clock in the
police
morning, even if we
spokesman
get
says
in.
that they achieved
Right.
When it's fine.
But
10 Monday.
you may be here.
I may be here Yeah, my sister probably, I don't think she'll drive home that night.
But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We went down to Northport to visit,
Yeah.
her parents.
Yeah.
And we got back in late Sunday night, like 11:15,
Yeah.
Sunday night, not even till midnight.
The
And I
Biden
still have to be
administration on
here
Tuesday
Right.
announced the formation
Yeah,
of
you were
a
up at-
at 4:30.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, you're way getting
No, no, no.
yeah.
set to minimize
Even though I only had 4.5 hours of
Right,
sleep.
right. And
4:30.
and it might be the kind of thing that talking to my sister, cause yeah, she go, they go, well, I'll go with you, yeah, and we'll go, come over here, and then we'll do
And
breakfast.
it's time to cruise again. Holland
Yeah.
American Line is
Yeah,
ready to
fly
split
up
sail
to
round
Jersey.
trip from
Right.
Seattle to Alaska with their new ship, New
my
Amsterdam.
brother's getting
The cards are starting
a
July
good old Irish
24th and
way.
sailing
He won the
October
party when he
2nd.
died.
These
They're
Alaska
gonna get
cruises
one.
will
And
only
so-
be for guests
Will you
who
tell
have
Matt
spent
that we're
final
clearing
cruise
here?
Yep, sure will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you see him out there.
Yeah.
The ship has also been
Well, last time I
upgraded to
didn't
make
see him,
guests
he was
feel
here, right?
even safer with enhanced sanitation practices,
Some
upgraded
essential
HVAC
steps.
systems, UV lighting, and enhanced filtration practices. Gus Antorsha is the president of Holland American Line.
We're working through the protocols with the CDC, and so I suspect there may be some adjustments and changes we need to make. But I think everything that a guest has come to expect and enjoy from a Holland America cruise will be available. So that includes our onboard dining options, it includes the entertainment offers, it includes the special lectures, the special programs that we add to all of our voyages.
Visit www.hollandamerica.com.
Some essential steps for starting your first vegetable garden. That's coming up on Baseline
Hey, Matt.
Hours.
I'm Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Freed. Everyone knows Florida grows the world's best produce. From citrus to strawberries, watermelon to blueberries, our produce growers feed our families and the world. With over $125 million in annual revenue for growers, the Fresh from Florida program helps Florida farmers stay competitive in a tough marketplace. Learn more at followfreshfromflorida.com.
This is my farm, and on it I'm raising corn. I'm raising soybeans, and sometimes wheat. I'm raising chickens, and a few horses. I'm raising catfish and crappies down at the pond. But above all that, before everything else, I'm raising my kids.
You're a parent first, farmer second. Do all you can to make your farm safe for children. Visit cultivatesafety.org for help protecting the most important thing you will ever raise.
Vegetable gardening at home can be a way to save money while you get up close and personal with nature. For example, even just one plant can be super affordable, about $3 to $5, can provide up to 10 pounds of tomatoes over the season, which can easily run you $20 or more. If you're a beginner, start with a small space. Even a sunny deck or balcony works well. Choose a location with plenty of access to sunlight and water. Next, grow exactly what you like to eat. Pay special attention to the seed packet, tag, or label. Another important step is choosing the layout of your garden and what crops will grow well together. For the best harvest, your vegetable garden needs the best soil you can give it. And the last important and essential step would be getting your garden is to know about the pests and diseases your plants are prone to. Big pests such as deer and rabbits can wreak havoc in an edible garden. Fencing will also need to be a consideration. I'm Kathy Isom, Southeast AgNet.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
We'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine today, with thunderstorm in spots this afternoon and a high of 89 to 93. Then partly cloudy tonight, low 71 to 74. Wednesday will be partly sunny with a high of 90 to 92. Then mostly sunny Thursday, high 90 to 95. Partly sunny Friday and Saturday, thunderstorm in spots in the afternoons. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Hi, I'm Lori. Hi, I'm Vanessa. We are the American Moms. Join us Monday through Friday, 10:30 to 11 a.m. on WOCA Radio, 96.3 FM, and 1370 AM, The Source. So that wasn't so bad, was it? You're going to like radio. It's a lot of fun. You can act. You have to talk. I can't. You have to.
I didn't know she got my girlfriend got in a wreck.
American Moms is brought to you by Stanfield Chiropractic.
Bumped the guy she bumped me from behind. And pushed the hood up just a little bit, but popped that plastic bumper off. Headlights slowed down. So that plastic bumper was on, the headlights went off. We're in. That's right. It's Sunrise Auto Repair with Personal Care. Matt Gibbs. He's in the studio with us. Matt, you're so busy.
Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt.
I'm very happy and
bringing
thankful
stories that are important to our community
you really
in
didn't have
Anne
time,
Arundel,
though. You just did it anyway.
Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Do you turn and that go back? You covered up right now. What's that? You covered up right now.
Covered up. Just covered up. We're actually expanding. We've added 2 more lifts. We're adding 4 more days at the shop.
Let me ask you this, because you see it everywhere, and you see help wanted signs up, you see restaurants are cutting their hours because they can't find employees and everything. You got full staff, or do you need employees?
I need employees.
So it's affecting the automotive industry as well.
Yeah, I think it's affecting everyone and everywhere.
I don't know what you didn't have a mechanic shortage before the pandemic. So did we lose so many people? Did we create a workforce shortage?
You know, okay, so I was talking to customers, and they have a son that's still in high school that works at Publix. This is a high school student working at Publix, getting $13 an hour.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine who he's offered, and he's still out there for an offer. He's actually got somebody that he thinks may work out, but still, he's just in case. All he wants is somebody 5 hours a day, 2 days a week, to unload and put away the truck in the restaurant. 4:30 to 9:30 in the morning. He's paying $25 an hour. He's been looking for 2 months. I mean, $25 an hour, all you have to put the truck away. Twice a week. That, if you do $25, that takes 5 hours, $250 a week. That's a good supplemental income for somebody that may work, the 3:30 to 11 shift. I don't know how it would work out, but I don't know too many people that can pass up an extra $1,000 a month. Can't find work. 622-9622 is the number to call if you want to talk to Matt Gibbs. I mean, so you need except for front office, you need everything.
Well, I need someone in the front office as far as a client service advisor, someone that is good with people.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917.
Shamrock Security Systems, 629-3223. Shamrock Security Systems is located here in Ocala, Florida. Shamrock Security Systems is a top-rated alarm company offering 24/7 monitoring, video surveillance, fire and flood protection. You'll sleep a little better once the job is done. Shamrock Security Systems for over 31 years. 629-3223. Get a 100% free quote from Shamrock Security. 629-3223.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get
Thanks for
there?
the call.
Tune in to Coasting into Retirement with Gary
So
Marriage
these
of
big
Nature
lawnmower
Coast
trailers,
Financial
do they have
Advisors.
to have,
Sunday mornings at 8
get
to
that
get
differential
answers to
checked
your
out more on their
retirement
trucks
planning
and pulling these big
questions.
trailers?
Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors.
Our firm offers insurance services.
Right.
Hello, gorgeous. Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. It's time to get that new look started. Let's get rid of those sun-damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. Humidity is not your hair's friend. It causes your hair to capture moisture and leaves it looking dry and unhealthy. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair healthy and shiny with a Brazilian smoothing treatment. So let us help you make a great first impression. Call us today to set your appointment at at Hello Gorgeous. Our number is 352-351-5358. Again, that's 352-351-5358. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. 351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is conveniently located in the heart of downtown Ocala. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon at 351-5358. That's 351-5358.
Hello, gorgeous.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Gene Powell Pasture 352-629-2440. A few of our tractor services include bush hogging, disking, and rototilling. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are family-owned and operated, licensed and insured, and farm-ready. Howell Gene, Gene, at yahoo.com. 352-629-2440. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. 352-629-2440. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
Keep up with what's going on in the downtown area with Ocala Downtown Newspaper. Delivering thousands of newspapers to businesses in the downtown area, Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs. And all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. For more info, just call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223, and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
And now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
On June 15th at 8:30 a.m., Dr. Hal McSwain of First Congregation United Church of Christ and Rabbi Z.F. Harari of Temple Beth Shalom of Ocala will be my guest to let us know about the Ocala Tree of Life Sanctuary. This sanctuary will have Jews and Christians worship under one roof. Be sure to tune in.
Well, there's a little
Again,
story
that's
behind
Tuesday,
those
June
Westlake
15th
tires.
at
Thanks for the
8:30
call,
a.m.
Sonny.
Brought to you by the First Congregation
So
United
back
Church
in the
of
day,
Christ, Temple Beth
we
Shalom of
serviced all the cars
Ocala,
for
and your
Baxley
friends here
Tires
at
Funeral.
WOCA, the source.
Okay.
Hey, if you're looking for
And
great
so-
deals, there's no point in running all over
And
town
so
looking for just what
they
you want.
actually came
Come
to
on out
us
to
and
Bob
asked
Bryant's
us if we
Camellia
could
Gardens
get
in
these Westlake tires. I
Ocala,
had
where
no
they
idea
have a
about Westlake
huge
tires at the
selection
time.
of small...
And because of them, I did some research and stuff, and they wanted those tires put on all their vehicles. So I kind of did some research on them, and I liked what I saw as far as the research goes. And so we started using them because the funeral or Hires Baxley wanted them and on their vehicles anyway. So we started using, and I could tell a tire, like when I mount it on a wheel and we put it on the balancing machine, you can kind of tell the quality of a tire.
Right.
When it says you need 47 ounces, that's not a good tire.
That's not good. When you had to put 4 pounds of balance
of lead on your tire,
that's not good.
That's not good.
Not good.
So when you put a tire on there, and it calls for a half ounce on the inside and 3/4 of an ounce on the outside, that's a good tire.
When you're talking about tires like that, is that anything under an ounce on the inside and outside? Is that pretty
Oh
good?
yeah, that would be really good.
Yeah.
If you can keep it around under 2 ounces on inside and outside, that's pretty good.
Does the balancing your tires help? Like I had an issue. I had an issue with my brakes where when you push the brakes,
they pulsate.
It pulsates, and I know it's warp rotors. It's one of it is they've heated up and probably ran through a water puddle or something and warped them a little bit. But I just got 2 new tires put on the front of the Cadillac, and it doesn't shake as much now when I press the brakes.
Okay.
I didn't realize tires could have that kind of effect.
Yeah, it's amazing how many times people come in with, let's say it's pulling to the left, it's pulling to the right. There's a wobble, at 37. It's funny because I just drove a car the other day at 37 miles an hour to 42 miles an hour. But you don't let go of that steering wheel.
Right. Mine doesn't do that. It's only when I brake.
Right.
But now it's you don't feel it as much as you did as I had the Balding tires on there. And the tires that, they had 40,000 miles on them.
Right. Well, I'll drive someone's car and then I'll put tires on there And I'm like, wait till you drive your car. You're gonna think that you got a whole new car. It's not even.
Well, I mean, the four tires are what meets the pavement. that is where you get the feel for driving your car, is the tires.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily know, but Sonny made a very good point. And with the Westlake tires, you don't necessarily have to go buy the big name brand, national brands and stuff like that. They're very good. Like my touring tires are very good touring tires. And they ain't got no Goodyear, they ain't got no BF Goodrich, none of that name on them. Because I ain't paying $275 a tire.
And we got nicknames for all them tires.
Yeah, oh yeah. Once again, if you want to prove to me you're rich, take your 9mm and shoot tires hung on plywood. take 4 Michelins, put them on 2 pieces of plywood and shoot them with your 9mm. You're a rich person. With the way tires, wood, and bullets cost, you're wealthy. But people, I don't think people understand enough how a new set or a good set of tires can take your ride that may have felt, a little bumpy and all, and just straighten it out just with tires.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And the crazy part about all this is most of the time when I'm involved, okay, like I'll drive a customer's car. And if they bring it in for this, okay, so we're driving it for this, I'm like, do you feel this?
Right.
What you mean?
Well, I'll give you a prime example. I took my Cadillac in about a year and a half ago to get an oil change, and I thought maybe I was having a suspension issue because it was pulling a little bit. It ended up being that it was out of alignment. They wouldn't do. But the guy calls me on the phone. My guy calls me on the phone. He goes, "You do realize that your back end's fixing to fall off your Cadillac?" And I go, "Huh?" He goes, "You hadn't heard that roar?" And I go, "What roar?" He goes, "When you're driving down the road, does it sound noisy in the back?" I go, "Yeah, but it's always sounded that way." He goes, "Since you bought the vehicle?" I go, "About 6 months after I bought the vehicle." He goes, "Yeah, your bearings are shot in the back end. They've been telling you they're shot the entire time you." And that roar just to me was a normal noise, so it didn't. And he got in it to drive it to see if it needed to align while it was pulling. And he calls me immediately, goes, "Pulling? What about that roar in the back?" And I'm like, "What roar?" And I had no idea that I needed the back end bearings because they were fitting the tires. Without bearings, sometimes the tires no longer stay on car.
That's right. It helps everything going down the road.
Yeah. Oh, the tire going down the road past you if you're not careful.
That's right.
But that's what you mean by you'll take people's cars out and they come in for A and you'll be like, well, B is a bigger problem.
Yeah, B is a way more bigger problem than A.
Right, and that's what my problem was I had some rear end issues and I need my mouth over the wrong mouth to be good. I don't know why it doesn't show up. It's frustrating, this new computer system. I'm learning it, man. I'm learning it. I get frustrated. I'm sure you get frustrated in town.
It did take you quite a while just to say auto repair personal care. So
well, there you go. It didn't take me. I've been doing this since October. Calm down. Good morning, your own Matt Gibbs. Hey, you.
Well, I don't even know if I haven't seen a bias tire in forever.
No.
And I think that the quality of the steel, I think, to be honest with you, I've never cut one. You'd have to
cut it in half.
Well, you have to even, and then melt all the rubber off,
right?
To kind of get it. But I'm sure that there's different patterns of steel now. They crisscross everything. It's like a weave. And it used to be back in the day that if you were rotating your tires, you just went from front to rear. You never wanted to cross it because the steel was bending in the direction that the tire was going. But they don't do that anymore because of the way that they cross feed. But I'm sure that there are certain tires that do it certain ways, and maybe they use different size steel or whatever. I don't really know the intricacies of
yeah.
Good No, there's no law that says you have to.
It's just everybody does.
But the manufacturers, okay, so one of the things you gotta really be careful about is the manufacturers, they'll make a suspension that works best with.
Right.
You know, and so to get the best performance and the best out of your suspension out of your car, you want to do what the manufacturer says because it makes it ride better.
Thanks for calling you. You know, but I understand that rationale, but if the manufacturer said put Pirellis on, I'm not doing that either.
No.
You know, I need that $1,500.
I get you.
And rubber's just out of control at times. Everything. I mean, and inflation's hitting. It's coming.
I paid $2.95 for a gallon of gas this morning.
Yeah, but you look high tested.
No, I did not.
Where you were?
It was at the Circle K. And I even got my little code because I'm a member and I can put my code in there and get my 5 cents a gallon off. It was
I got 271 yesterday. I hope it didn't jump that much in one day.
It was 271 yesterday.
Oh dear goodness.
It was 295 today.
See, I didn't look this morning coming in, so. And sometimes I come in too early to change my time. So, 622-9622 is the number to call if you want to talk to Matt Gibbs. Tell me why this is possible. When I just bought new I bought new tires 40,000 miles. And I rotated them like you're supposed to. And when I took it in to get some work done recently, he goes, your front tires are a little too weak for you. You need tires. And I go, I just got tires. They're supposed to be 50,000 mile tires. They're going 40,000 miles. And he goes, well, your front tires are you know, they need. I look at the 4 and get the 2 best and put them on the back and put 2 brand new ones on the front. Is that because the front, and I know because with steering off, the front just wears a lot faster than the back?
Well, should the front wear? I mean, if we rotate it, like, when do you rotate it?
Every time I get oil change, because I get oil change 7,500 miles.
Okay, so you're doing that good. So the other thing that I would look at is where is it wearing? Is it wearing on the inside tread? Is it wearing on the outside tread? Is it wearing in the middle? Is it cupped? In other words, like, is there high and low spots on the tires? I just would have to really.
He didn't tell me how they were wearing, but you just go pick the 2 best, put them on the back, and put new ones on the front.
Right, and typically that's what you want to do, because the front on your car, it pulls from the front, not just steering, but pulls.
Yeah, it's front wheel drive and everything.
And 80% of your braking is from front, so that's definitely the way to do it. But I would want to look at the tires themselves and say, why is it, even though you rotate your tires, probably in 40,000 miles, I'd say at about half, if they're 50,000 mile tires, 25,000 miles, have them rebalanced.
I never got them balanced. Once they put it on, I never got them balanced.
And you never know, it might have slung the weight off something. Now the balance keeps everything running smooth, right?
Right.
So if the weight slings off, now instead of running smooth, the tire does this because it's out of balance.
Right.
So as the tire vibrates on the road, that's what causes cupping. And cupping is just saying that there's high spots and low spots on the tire. So if you can feel the tire,
bridges, yeah.
So now we got a balance issue. We could have a shock issue. If a shock helps keep the tire on the ground, so if a shock is going bad, that also would cause it to vibrate.
Can you still test shocks
Yeah.
the way that you did back in the day? You press down on the front of the car, if it goes all the way down, pops back up, your shocks are shots. If you press on it, it doesn't move, your shocks are in good shape.
Well, okay, so we probably replace more shocks that are locked up, that don't move at all.
Because they're locked.
They're locked. I mean, it's crazy. And there's a lot of cars, there's a lot of cars out there. We got to be real careful when we put them up on the lift, because when you put them up on the lift, all the shocks extend, right? And then they'll put them down on the ground, and they're stuck there.
Oh.
And they'll lock up. But one of the tall tale signs is you got struts on your car.
Right.
So you got struts in the front, struts in the back. They're oil. There's an oil that's inside of your struts.
Oh, that's struts.
That if you look at them, and they're all leaked out, you can actually see where the oil will run out.
Right.
Then it's time to replace it.
Yeah. Well, that just common sense, see the oil. And I do that, I don't know how often people do that, but about once a week, I will purposely park somewhere that I'm gonna go into for a couple hours, and I'll park at a clean spot and notice. That way then I'll pull out of that spot, and I'll get out and look to see if there's any oil or anything like that on the ground. And I do that about once a week, once every 10 days, just because you never know.
You never know. You never know.
And that's a good way to, people think, well, how would I know? I can't put it up on a lift or anything. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Find a clean piece of concrete or a clean piece of ground or something that you're going to be at. You can't do it if you're only going to be there 10 minutes. Sometimes if it's really bad, you can see it in 10 minutes. But if you're going in someplace like you're going to a movie, pick a spot in the movie parking lot that's kind of clean. You can go out there, 2-hour movie, come back. It's probably going to leak within that 2 hours where you can see it.
And the other thing too is pay attention to what things smell like.
If you're burning oil, if you get out of
oil, transmission, coolant, all these things put out an odor. And so, just pay attention if something doesn't smell right.
Because I think sometimes we get too reliant on, well, the light will come on. Because we're so computerized now that we say, well, the light will come on. What if that light, for some unknown reason, the sensor on that light burned out or something? You may not be able to rely on that light coming on.
Well, we had a situation yesterday, it started over the weekend, where some folks were coming, they came from the state of Washington. They drove here to pick up a trailer. They're on their way back to Washington. They got about 40 miles outside of Ocala, and I got a call from a friend of theirs.
Right.
Man, can you look at this truck? The oil gauge is flickering. They stopped. They had to put oil in the car, da-da-da-da-da. And so they brought it in yesterday morning on the way back. They wanted us to look at it. Well, I just asked a few questions. Why did you put oil in it? Well, because the
light came on.
Yeah, so he's adding oil. So now when we check the oil, not only is it full, it's like 5 quarts over full.
Right, and that can lead to bad, but that oil pressure like that can blow things up too.
Yeah, it was, now oil's coming out of everything because there's oil everywhere.
Right.
And he just added it just because the oil gauge flickered. It turned out that there was, and then on top of that, there was fuel getting inside the crankcase. So now is he 5 quarts of extra oil, and I don't know how much fuel was in there. This was, we were in a potential mess, and so we had to head back. Don't put a fluid in it just because.
Good morning, you're on with Matt Gibbs. You got about 1 minute.
Yes, ma'am. We do that. We still change transmission fluids. Some of them are tricky, and you have to have. Yes. So one of the things that we do before we ever do anything is check. We check and look at the fluid that's in there now. Because if it's all black and burnt and nasty, then I would advise you not to service it. Just because a lot of times when you take that out and put a new clean fluid in there, then it just doesn't move anymore. But if it's something that's, been taken care of, it's a pretty new car, a lot of places don't service transmissions just because they don't have the special tools that it takes. A lot of these cars don't even have dipsticks anymore. So there's a special tool.
I don't understand that, but
yeah, they don't have dipsticks. And we have to have scanners and computers in order to even check the fluids in some of these cars. It's kind of crazy.
Well, if that lady wants to come get a transmission check, I'll tell her where to go.
You just come right over to Sunrise. We're at 1800 Northwest 10th Street. And give our office a call at 352-690-1993.
Matt Gibbs, Sunrise Auto. Auto repair with personal care. I got it. Matt, talk to you next week. Coming up next, it's the American Moms. They'll be here. Vanessa Stanfield and Lori Martin Gregory, brought to you by Stanfield Chiropractic. They're next on WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala,
Sounds like you might have a new customer, man.
96.3 FM, The Source.
Some essential
That's what you
steps
need.
for
Watch out.
starting your first vegetable garden. That's coming up on This Land of Ours.
It's a good problem to have.
Nikki Freed. Everyone knows
That means God's smiling down on you.
produce. From citrus to strawberries,
Thanks, Matt.
watermelon to blueberries, our produce growers feed our families and the world.
Good morning.
With over $125 million in annual revenue for growers, the Fresh from Florida program helps Florida farmers stay competitive in a tough marketplace. Learn more at followfreshfromflorida.com.
This is my farm, and on it I'm raising crops. I'm raising soybeans, and sometimes wheat. I'm raising chickens, and a few horses. I'm raising cattle.
The formation of a new task force to address supply chain disruptions. The task force is set to minimize the impacts of supply chain disruptions on workers, consumers, families, and businesses.
Hey, we got planes everywhere this morning.
Hey, everybody. If you've ever thought about heirloom beans as a storable survival food, I've got great news. In fact, I'll bet it's the best news you've heard in a while. Here's the thing. We've just received a fresh batch of gourmet heirloom beans, survival soup beans. These beans are gorgeous, highly nutritious, and
this is for you.
No hesitation whatsoever.
There's planes everywhere out here.
I know. You can figure it. What is going on? We've dropped the price by 33%.
The big jet way out there, the big jet way out there belongs to somebody in New Bern, North Carolina that just has a P.O. box. They don't have the name.
You want to know where the money's going in Ocala? I also want to send you 2 pounds of what we think is the single most underrated superfood in the world, period. Go to soupbeansurvival.com, that's soupbeansurvival.com, and discover the real reason we're putting this unusual superfood away. That's soupbeansurvival.com, that's soupbeansurvival.com.
This is the one time to Hey, Grandpa. It was Five Below.
Hey,
and I got it for
Grandpa.
the kids.
Yes, buddy?
And
Can you
like,
take me fishing this weekend?
I'd love to.